So here's a fundamental question for you. Do you react or do you respond? Because in the answer to that question lies your happiness and your freedom. I am Baruch. I am co-founder of Soul Centered. Soul Centered is a spiritual center for meaning, purpose, and healing in the afternoon of life. The afternoon of life, the second half of life, where we need new goals, we need new rules, we need new tools to live differently so that we can find meaning and purpose and healing in ways we couldn't have found in the first half of life. I work with clients all day, every day as a logotherapist, as a meaning-centered psychotherapist, and a spiritual guide. And we work on this one idea of reaction versus responding. Logotherapy is the child of Dr. Viktor Frankl. Dr. Viktor Frankl, author of Man's Search for Meaning, developed logotherapy out of his experience of out of the Holocaust. Certainly that's where it was proven, where he found meaning. And in that meaning, he had everything. He had freedom, even when he was incarcerated in 4 different concentration camps, including Auschwitz. As he describes, he was never incarcerated. He was never imprisoned. He was always free because he didn't live in reaction. He lived responding to his life. And that is what we are all here to do. God forbid in certain circumstances and situations that extreme, but all day, every day, we are bombarded with circumstances, things happening outside of us, things happening to us. And what I work on in my own life to do and in the lives of the clients of whom I've been privileged to guide is to help them take back their power. And it begins with this idea of responding and not reacting. I've shared it many times. I'm going to share it many more. I think the most important statement in logotherapy, the most important words Dr. Frankl has contributed, and he's contributed many, and probably the definitive quote in my life. Dr. Frankl says, between stimulus and response, there is a space. And in that space lies our freedom and our power to choose our response. In our response is our growth and our happiness. Between stimulus and response, between something happening to us and the way we respond, or most likely the way we react, there is a space. Our job is to be in that space. From the time a circumstance, something outside of us happens to us, we have a moment before we react. And if we just react, we react like animals. Fight, freeze, flight. We go to our base nature. We do what we've always done. And as they say, you get what you always got. And more often than not, when we are reacting, we are not creating the outcome of our desire. We are not free to choose. And that's why we must be in that space and learn how, as I say, to expand the space. To expand that space from circumstances happening to us. I don't care what the circumstance is. Could be going through a divorce, could be dealing with a difficult colleague, could have been diagnosed or a loved one diagnosed with something, could have lost a loved one. Could just be some trivial stuff that's happening between you and your spouse or you and your kids, and we react. And when we react, we lose our power. And so we need to cultivate tools of how to be in that space, how to expand the space. We can do it through meditation, through conscious breathing. We can do it through mindfulness tools. We can do it through journaling. We can do it through talking it through. We can do it through going for a jog. It's one of my preferred ways to deal with my space. When I'm bombarded and I just can't deal with it anymore, I hit the road. I go on a run. I go on a jog. I get out of Dodge to expand my space, right? And the email that I already composed in reaction to somebody or something is on hold. I go for a jog. I come back. There's no way I'm sending that email because that email is reaction. And I am not choosing to send it. I'm not choosing to the words of it when I'm in reaction. I come back, I delete it, and I compose an email from an expanded place and space. And in that is my power, and I'm taking it back. I mean, isn't that the point? that we want to be powerful. And we're not talking about morning of life power, where it's accumulating and acquiring and doing and becoming. Afternoon of life power is all about owning the only thing that we ever have, ever can, ever will own, which is our ability to respond, or forfeiting our ability to respond through reacting. And that's why we have to start thinking about and cultivating this space between stimulus and response. And that's why we have to start thinking about choosing what comes next. And in that choice determines everything, determines your freedom, and determines your happiness. This is the pathway to living a more meaningful and purposeful and healing-filled afternoon of life. It's time to stop reacting and to start responding and to choose your own way. I would love to hear from you. I'm going to be doing a lot of videos around this idea, these ideas, and certainly open to doing videos that interest you. I've heard a lot from many of you out there in cyberspace. I would love to continue to hear, what are you interested in? How do you expand your space? How do you respond? Start responding and stop reacting in your life. Check us out over at mysoulcentered.org. Until next time, salam, shalom, namaste, and peace.